Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. All right, we are. Oh man, I needed to do this. To wait, how many people? Oh, there is actually more than one person here. Howdy, howdy. Nice to see you, Bendova. I needed to do this to distract myself. From the ledge that I was walking toward. Man, I got a letter, you guys. We might be going to war here pretty soon against my former employer. We will see. We will see what happens. It is, oh man. I am beyond pissed off with those assholes. Liars and criminals. Edinburgh, huh? Did I say that right? I think that's how you're supposed to say it. Salem, Oregon. All right. Oh, look out. Watch out for witches, I guess. But it is Edinburgh, so not Burra. Bruh. Edinburgh. Okay, I got it. Edinburgh. Oh, my favorite show? Well, thank you very much. No, ask me anything. You son of a bitch. I need to get an Uno reverse card for my live streams and for moments like this. Okay, well, Does MILF Wrangler mean that a MILF in jeans, or does it mean that you gather up MILFs? Haha. Now whomstative is asking the questions? Oh, it's not a super chat, but whatever. Yeah, maybe it is only in Massachusetts. I don't know. When I was a kid, instead, like 5th grade, instead of Massachusetts, we said massive two tits instead of Massachusetts. Sorry, I got distracted from a second. Am I interested in women's clothing or am I a pimp? Hard choice. Yeah, well, I don't know. You'll never know. We'll never. Oh, sorry. Why do I always get messages from these people? I keep blocking these things, and yet they keep sending me messages. Oops. Are farts supposed to be lumpy? They can come in lumps, like the I don't know what you would call that, but no, I mean, you probably, hopefully you're on your phone so you can take me with you, but you may need to go to the water closet. Oh no, did Planet Peterson commit a logical fallacy? One can be a pimp and interested in women's clothing at the same time. Fallacy. That's my best attempt to do that face. It's really extreme with the eyebrows and the mouth. The mustache helps. That's the best I can do. That is the best I can do. Did you write the music for your outro? No. That would be cool. I did used to have I had some short little songs that I wrote for my YouTube channel way back in the day. One of them I actually really liked it. Oh man, I don't think there's any way I could open that up. Man, is there some way I could find? There is. I think there actually is. Let me go to the Planet Peterson YouTube studio. I may be able to find it. It was a cute little song. I really liked it, but I mean, after a while, it was time to change. And it wasn't really. I mean, like it was good, but it wasn't the thing you would really like want to hear on a YouTube video. If that makes any sense to anybody. What the heck would that Earth's place? Yes, there it is. So can I actually? Ah, shoot. It let me see here. That's not really gonna work. But let me see. Well, here I'll play it anyways. Here, let me change my sound settings really quick. This video is from 2021. Let's see here. OBS. Oh, this is so weird. All right. So let me see if I can share this. You're gonna miss the very beginning of the song, which kind of sucks because that kind of plays into it. But there's talking over it, so you don't really hear it. But this was what I used for like a little outro music. There's young Eric right there. All right. I like it. And then I moved my desk. There you go. So that was, I did have some stuff that I actually did right. And by right, I mean like I just dragged in the loops from GarageBand, but the drum parts were like manually done. Oh, a long time ago. I want to redo all those videos at some point. Really like the point and laugh method you've been taking up with Fleur first recently. Yeah. Yeah. We need to bring shaming back. Okay, sorry. Chat, what is it doing? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I came up with that. I just started saying that a while ago, and now it's a staple of the Planet Peterson channel. The dehumanizing of the flurf. is quite satisfactory. Oh man, today's video is not doing as well as yesterday's. I thought maybe it would. Thought maybe that would be about the same. What the hell? Sorry. Tisk tisk. I got emailed yesterday by James from Modern Day Debate asking if I wanted to do a debate on secular humanism versus Christianity, what's better for society. I don't know why they're on such a kick with that lately, but they asked me if I wanted to do that against some guy named what's his name? Rattlesnake TV is the YouTube channel. It's actually a big YouTube channel. And it's just all the most cringe lord shit you've ever seen. Just him doing the exact same thing in every thumbnail, pointing to something, and it's just feminist owned by blah 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 or whatever. He's got Candace Owens up here. No, Jeremy Boring stepped down. Yeah. So this guy apparently, I don't know. I have no idea. Is Israel not the bad guy? What the hell kind of topic is that? Anyways, so yeah, I said, well, I mean, I could do it. They asked me, I got this email yesterday asking if I wanted to do it this Saturday. And I said, I mean, I could, but I'd prefer next week. And then James said, yeah, the other guy said he couldn't do it Saturday either. So he'll be in touch. I don't know. It's not really all that interesting, but this seems like an easy layup. So I don't know. Smart business decision, I guess, for me to do it. But anyways, 3, 2, 1, biter. Thank you. How do you keep saying listening to Christian pretzels? I don't know. I mean, you could ask me that for anything. I mean, the suffering through that debate I posted yesterday. I mean, that was so much worse than most of the Christian debates I have. I guess I don't know. I mean, like what they say doesn't offend me. So it's like can I sit there and tolerate listening to an idiot talk and be an idiot for that long? I don't know. For whatever reason, I do have a tolerance for that. I can't watch like cringe TV. Like I love The Office. It's one of my favorite shows, but there are like the Scott's Tots episode. I literally can't watch it. It's too cringe. It's too painful. So why am I able to do what I do and I can't do that? I have no idea. How did I meet my wife? Well, that's a funny question. It was right as the pandemic was kind of sort of ending. Like you could go places now. You could even sit indoors in places. And I was driving. I was teaching, but teaching was completely remote still. And in my spare time, I was driving for Uber just to make a little bit of extra money. And I went to this brewery that it's like the only one in town I go to because they have live music there, and they always have a food truck in the back. So I went there for to just take a break from taking rides for a little while. Pause. And I went to the back, and I think Balasong was there. That's a really good food truck here in town that my wife likes. And I just sat at this picnic table, and there are these two girls sitting there. And one of them, I was like, oh, she's really good looking. And I just sat at the picnic table because there was nowhere else to sit. And I was eavesdropping a little bit. And she said something about teaching a couple of times. And then I was like, all right, well, shoot your shot, I guess, or whatever. And I said, I just interrupted or whatever. I was like, "Hey, did you say you're a teacher? I'm a teacher too." And we just started talking, and I just like found ways to like interject myself in their conversation, and we just the three of us were just talking for a while, I guess. And then they got up to leave. I was like, "Well, yeah, I guess I was just taking a break from work. I suppose I'll go too." And then as we were walking out, I just asked her, I was like, "Do you want to keep having this conversation sometime?" And she said, "Yeah." And I gave her my number, and the rest is history. I, I, um, I've never been to England, so no, that's not true. That is definitely not true. I almost kind of wish it was because it's really interesting, but wholesome. Yeah, I don't know, it's a cute little story. We found each other at just the right time. Although funny enough, early on she was like, "I'm not ready to date." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'm not going anywhere, so just let me know whenever you want to hang out or do something." Um and then I don't know. She pretty much never left me waiting. Why do we have dominant hands? Why aren't we all ambidextrous? I mean, you are. I mean, there are a lot of things you can do with both hands equally well. Cause like, when you think about just like, I don't know, think about day-to-day mundane stuff like yard work, driving your car. Oh man, I have no freaking idea. Just like I don't know. We use both hands for all kinds of things. It's really just specific tasks. But I think the reason you're not good with the other hand is just because you don't practice with it. Because like look at a kindergarten, like by the time a kid's in kindergarten, they probably know if they're right or left-handed. But look at their penmanship; it's going to be absolutely terrible. So it's really, I really just honestly think it's down to practice. I can throw some balls I'm left-handed. I'm actually super ambidextrous, but I throw left-handed everything except a frisbee I throw right-handed. But I can throw with my right hand okay, but what I notice is when I do it, it almost feels like in my shoulder, like my not my rotator cuff, but like the where my humerus and my scapula interact, it's almost like it isn't smooth because it hasn't been used nearly as much, which is kind of a different thing, which would get in the way of it. But no, I mean, but it is true that now I'm kind of getting away from your question, Optimus Rhymes, but it is definitely true that most people are right hand dominant. And I have no idea why that is. I once heard that polar bears are almost all left handed. I don't know. We'll ask ChatGPT real quick. That's a popular myth, but no, there's no scientific evidence that polar bears are left-handed or left-pawed. Oh man. Huh. Interesting. Well, I guess that should have been in the book. That's not a very popular thing. So I've heard that, but I guess there's no supporting evidence for it. Yeah, why are most people right-handed? I guess I don't know. Um I'm trying to think. I don't know if I've ever read anything about this before. Hmm. I don't know. What is the hold on. What's the correlation between handedness and identical twins? This will help us out. Huh. So in most identical twins, around 75 to 80% are both right-handed. I don't know. So, like, it's almost certainly there's almost certainly a pretty big genetic factor to this. What you'd wanna do is compare the rate of something in identical twins versus, siblings, and then the difference between that can kind of sort of give you an idea of, how genetic it is. Like, let's say it's 50% in identical twins and then only 25% in, uh, just regular siblings. Then because the difference between those 2 is twofold, that essentially tells you that half of the cause is genetic, because the twins share the environment and 100% of the genes, and the siblings share the environment, but only half the genes. So if the difference is twofold, it's a 50% genetic contribution. So I just don't know off the top of my head what the rate between handedness and identical twins is versus siblings. It's definitely going to be stronger, but I I honestly bet that that difference is probably only going to be, I mean, it's gonna be a small difference. So, yeah, probably a fairly small difference. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how strong it would be genetically. There's a bit of a cultural aspect to this too, because especially in East Asia, it's really frowned upon to be left-handed. But even in countries where there's basically no social stigma on handedness, it peaks at between like 11 and 12%. So we are, us left-handed people like myself, we are rare. Why, what possible evolutionary reason could there be for it? It probably really has almost nothing to do with natural selection. It's probably just some weird kind of genetic drift thing where we just almost all ended up being right-handed and there's no real reason for it. It just dumb luck ended up that way. Um, Petrie? Petra? Sorry. But do you think that gender identity carries more intrinsic value than other ways people can categorize themselves? What? Okay, hold on. Let me. I'm trying to understand your question. Um. Oh, so you're asking me, okay, do I think that gender identity has more intrinsic value than other ways that people categorize themselves, and why? Um, I mean, intrinsic value. Um, I'm tempted to say yes. Um, so like if we just think about all the ways that we identify ourselves, like I'm a parent, I'm a sibling, I'm a guy, I'm a girl, man or woman or whatever. I'm American, whatever. Yeah, the gender identity is really important. I mean, not to conflate gender and biology, because I do think that they are different, but um in the vast majority of people, the gender and the gender and the biological sex identity are the same. And I mean, I guess I would say, like, for the individual, like, biological sex is, in terms of like our biology, is one of those things that seems more real about us, like more fundamental about us. Whereas, if you want to say like everybody is a child that's ever existed, but that doesn't really seem to be an identity shaping thing for us. It's not exactly. Hi, Kitty Cat Peterson. I don't know. I feel like that's less fundamental to what we are and the way we are. And yes, there are differences between men and women. So then with respect to the gender thing, I mean, at the core of how you sort of live your life, like experience this world, that is an extremely that's an extremely pertinent thing. I would say it kind of depends on where you live, like especially in America. Race is going to be one of those huge markers too, because this country has a history, not exactly a great history with that kind of thing, and it's a pretty diverse place. So I don't know. I guess yeah. I think the reason it's so intrinsic is because for the most part it gets at the core of like what you are as an individual. And then in my culture and language, gender is more of a grammar concept. I mean, I don't know where you're from, I guess, but in America, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I really have anything to add to that I haven't already said. So sorry for kind of the rambling answer. I hope it was kind of a decent one for you. No one that was born blind has ever been diagnosed with schizophrenia. Why do you think this is? Oh, I've heard about this before. Um, I've heard about this before, and I've heard people talk about it before. I wish I could hear. Well, all right, sorry about that. Um, if I had to guess, as a very much non-expert, sorry, I keep getting distracted. Um, sight is something like I want to say it's a really large percentage. The number I have in the back of my head is 40%. Something like 40% of the brain power or whatever is devoted to sight, at least when you're awake. I've heard a number like that before, I'm pretty sure. So if you have congenital blindness, if you're born without it, I can't help but think that you're just going to be wired quite a lot differently than the typical person. But the schizophrenia, I mean, the schizophrenia that is it's associated with a large degree of paranoia, and my vocabulary is failing me, but just sort of a general sort of disconnect from reality as well. Well, I mean, if I don't know, intuitively, if you want to like ask yourself or whatever, which of these people do you think would have a better grasp of the world? Somebody who has all the senses except for sight, or somebody who can see and then is lacking any of the other senses like hearing. I mean that's probably like touch. That would be kind of a weird one. But let's just imagine somebody who is congenitally deaf, always been deaf, or somebody who's always been blind. I genuinely feel like the person who is deaf, the person that can see, really has a better sort of picture of reality or whatever. And so that being blind, I just feel like there's probably so much that you're missing that makes it impossible to make those sort of weird disconnects with reality. Like how do you have paranoia that you're being watched over or that somebody's there that isn't really there if you've never seen anything before? That's my intuitive sense of it. Here, let me read a source here. Um, reduced visual input equals fewer perceptual different disturbances. That's kind of what I had in mind. I'd be really interested to hear some sort of science behind the way information is integrated, absent a visual aspect to it. That would be really interesting. Mm, yeah, I don't know. That's an extremely good question. So that's my intuitive answer. Um, Optimus Rhymes. Why does the hair on our heads and face keep growing, but not our body hair? I can only afford 2 questions this time. Keep up the good. Thank you very much. Hank Green has a video on this. That I saw him do on like on a TikTok. I wonder. I'd have to find it on TikTok probably. I I heard him talk about this, and he said something that I thought was kind of weird. He alluded to actually like the hair on your legs, it doesn't stop growing. It just you don't have as much leg hair, and it falls out at a faster rate. So if your leg hair was anchored and we had as much of it and it didn't fall out as often, then your leg hair could grow really long. That's what he seemed to be saying. Um so I don't know how much truth there is to that, but let me see if I can find it. Um Oh, you stupid thing. Making me prove that I'm not a robot. Why do humans have butt crack hair? I don't think that's the one. But maybe this is the video. That doesn't seem right. Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can find it or not. I feel like I'm not going to be able to, but so this is telling me anagen phase. What the heck? So there is actually a growth phase for hair, and then there actually is a phase where hair just simply stops growing. And your anagen phase for your head is typically 2 to 7 years, but for the rest of your body, it's actually only a few weeks to a few months. Okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense. I don't know if I'm misremembering. Here, I think I actually did find the video though. Maybe I'm misremembering what he said, but here, let's take a look.
All over your body on all animals have several different growth phases. They have a growth phase, they have a pause phase, they have a fallout phase. And humans just have a really long growth phase before they have the pause and fallout phases. Only on our heads. Doesn't happen to your eyebrows until you get my age. And then they will go seemingly forever. Why did humans evolve this trait and other?
I do have a few really long eyebrow hairs. So yeah, it looks like I kind of misremembered or misunderstood what he said. And this was a long time. This was in 2021 that he published this video. I'm surprised I even remembered it.
Animals haven't? Well, we don't know why we evolved it, but we know one reason why other animals haven't is because it's extraordinarily inconvenient and takes a lot of work to cut hair.
Yeah, having long hair is annoying. I don't know. I would guess. So the basic answer is that there's an active growth phase in hair, and it's just active in your scalp. And I guess here too. I don't know. I think if I never shaved my beard, I don't think it would grow very long. I don't think I have. I don't think it can grow all that long. But anyways, so that just lasts longer. Now the question for why that would be would probably almost certainly be because of sexual selection. It's just humans, for whatever reason, have a preference for that, and so it was selected for. That would be my guess. So, all right, correcting the record on something Oh, that was the last super chat for now. Okay, that's a good question. All of your hair grows, it just falls out. Well, yeah, not exactly. I mean, it does, but apparently there is a stop growth phase that just occurs earlier on. Did I? I didn't miss anything, did I? I don't think so. Nope. All right. I want to find some more twin statistics. Oh. I have too many things happening right now. My over under, I'm gonna say that he's just not gonna come back. That's my take. Good afternoon to you as well. So this says that around 15% of identical twins are left-handed, while only about 10% of the general population. Okay. I'm trying to find some answers on the left-handedness thing. Let me pop that back up. Why do we have dominant hands? So that's what I was thinking. So, well, no, okay, I knew that. So it looks like if we go with the twin studies, identical twins. Wait, that actually doesn't make any sense. So if one twin is left-handed, about 15% of the time the other twin is left-handed. Is that what that's saying? That actually doesn't make all that much sense. 19 different twin studies on left-handedness and twins show that 15% of identical twins and 12% of non-identical were left-handed, were left-handers. That's really confusing to me. So this is saying that identical twins just in the population overall are more likely to be left-handed. That doesn't actually make any sense. Like, even if it's strongly genetic, why would that mean that identical twins more often have this trait? I don't know. If those are the, and this is from an actual like psychology website. This isn't just like an AI answer. So I don't know. Based on this, that math would suggest it's probably something like 25% genetic. But it's almost it's going to be polygenic, meaning it's going to be caused by many different traits. So working together. Sorry, lost my train of thought. So it'd be impossible to pin it down to something in particular. What the hell? You have a message. Go to the message center. Okay. Give me 1 second. I have a tax problem. I'll tell you guys about it in a second. And I just got a message regarding it and I like need to take care of it. It's actually kind of urgent. This is what they sent me. So yeah, I have a tax well, I'll answer this. I'll get caught up with my super chats first. Thank you, Lewis. Any plans for book 3? Somebody suggested that I actually thought it was a cool idea. I could write a book titled Theory in quotes. What did they say? It was theory in quotes. It was either theory in quotes, not theory without quotes, or it was either theory, not theory, or theory versus theory. It was something like that. And they didn't explain the premise, but I knew exactly what they meant. Like, yeah, maybe I could write a book really going into the difference between the colloquial sense of theory versus the scientific sense of theory. And I mean, that would not be a long book, but you know, lots of books aren't very long. Sam Harris's Free Will book is more like a pamphlet, Letter to a Christian Nation. That's all. I think the Free Will book is only like 80 pages. This is more pages than I thought. This is 150 pages. Pretty dense stuff too. This is Language, Truth, and Logic by A.J. Ayer. It's basically the treatise on logical positivism. I've been trying to read some of it here and there. I also started reading this book and another book recently here. But anyways, that could be an interesting book. I actually want to write an earth science book and maybe a biology book, like genuinely intended, not necessarily to be used in a classroom, because I think that's too much of a pie in the sky dream, but that a student could use, and it would teach them everything they need to know. It would just be it would be more fun and entertaining. And so it could be used like for the adult that just wants to be like, you know, I like biology and like I believe in the science of it. But I just don't remember all that much, you know, from like when they went to school. But it would cover cell biology and ecology and evolution and genetics and whatever else. I would really like to do that. Or maybe I'll just do my virtual curriculum all over again one of these days. So, Azarine, thank you very much. Do you think the autistic schism of overprescribing patterns to our world to create local order extends to the inclination toward religion? Yet autistic minds tend toward logical deconstruction. What does this mean? Do you think the autistic schism of overprescribing patterns to our world? Do you mean like people who overprescribe patterns are acting autistic? Is that what that means? I'm not sure if that's what you meant by that, because it does sound, as somebody who's definitely on that spectrum fairly far. um cuz it's like I don't know. You hear people say that in debates, like you're being like way too autistic or whatever, which is just kind of mean. But I mean, I get it. Like obsessing over patterns or something like that is, I don't know, diagnostic or something. So, do you think the overprescribing of patterns to our world to create local order extends to the inclination toward religion? I would very, very highly suspect no, because I think people, I genuinely don't think that people seek out religion for the purpose and with the interest of like, oh my God, I need to answer life's biggest questions. I think for most people, it's literally just part of the culture. It's just what you do growing up. Um, for the most part. And even people that do sort of like rationalize their religion, I really, for the most part, for most of them, I think it's just about finding purpose in life and like how like trying to figure out how to be a good person. Kitty Cat Peterson, what religion are you part of? Do you study any of the meowsteries of the universe? Huh? Huh? Do you? Huh? No? You just want to lay down? Okay. Back to the lap with you. So autistic minds tend toward logical, yet autistic minds tend toward logical deconstruction. Yeah. No, I would say the more analytical mind, which if we want to call it the more autistic mind, then that's fine. Yeah, tends toward being irreligious or deconstruction. So no, I mean, talking head religious people online, they're very much about those philosophical, logical explanations for why we need God or whatever. But I don't think most people are in that camp. Milf Wrangler, once again, is light really both particles and waves? If so, what the fuck? I think the answer is it depends. I mean, fundamentally, I don't think we really have a very good answer for this. It has the properties of both. And maybe a photon, because there is an actual sense where matter literally is just energy. Because if you cram enough energy into a small enough space, you get matter out of that. I don't remember what kind of particle it is. I think it's a quark, but like I think it's the strong nuclear force. I asked Blitz about this a couple of years ago, but the strong nuclear force, I believe it's this. It's so strong that if you pull, maybe it's not that. I'm sorry. I wish I could remember better. But there's this one type of force, and then when you try to separate the particles, you basically create potential energy, I think, by doing that. But when you try to separate the particles, the energy between them becomes so vast that it will spontaneously create a new particle in between them. So basically that when you try to pull them apart, it can't accept that. So it just fills in that void with a new particle. So maybe a photon literally just is both. Or maybe it is matter. Once you cram the energy into a small enough space, it behaves as matter. But then it has the properties of both because of the double slit experiments. I once heard there's a type of particle that if you try to separate them, a new particle pops up between them. What is that? I'm going to see if I can get an answer to what I was. Quarks. Okay, so it was quarks, but what's the force? Is it the gluon force? Okay, it is. Okay, it's the strong nuclear force. Oh, so I had the wrong sense of what the strong nuclear force was. My bad. So yeah, if you try to pull two quarks apart, the force between them doesn't get weaker like gravity or magnetism and actually gets stronger. And if you pull them apart far enough, it will create a brand new quark anti-quark pair, which binds to the original quarks. So there you go. So I was kind of basically right. I just forgot all the details. Interesting. Be honest, were you ever a hunter? Yeah. I don't think I ever shot a pheasant. Pheasant hunting was always unlucky for us, but you could hunt deer, pheasants, and waterfowl on my dad's farm whenever you wanted to. Basically, we did mostly duck and goose hunting because that was really easy to do, and you could do that for a long time. I only ever shot one deer. I only ever got one deer. Deer hunting, I don't know. It's a little more boring. The bird hunting, it's kind of they just come to you. Word salad. I don't know if you're talking about my quark explanation, but if so, then I guess I'm really sorry. Kitty Cat. Well, yeah. Kitty Cat Peterson. Here she is. How come you always look so unamused whenever I show you to the world? Who's a kitty cat, huh? Upside down. No. What? I hold her like this all the time, and she's fallen asleep in my arms before. I think she's camera shy. I think she knows when she's on camera, and then she doesn't like it. Or maybe it's because she was laying on my lap, which is more comfy for her. And now she's going to leave. Hey, you're a kitty who is also a cat. Kitty Cat, the one true prophet of Spanky. Yes. The best sex is done in superposition. Damn, I don't remember that in the Kama Sutra. Karma Sutra? Kama Sutra? I don't know. You shot the Bambi. It was a buck, I guess. Those are pheasant feathers in the back. How can you see that? Yeah, there's like 2 pheasant feathers in each of these. No, because honestly, how can you see that? Because they're like totally covered up. Chat, how did it see that? That's actually really weird. Thoughts on Desi map? What? What does that mean? First results from wow, this literally came out today. Holy shit. Hey, it's my wife's birthday today. Happy birthday, wife. First results from Desi make the most precise measurement of our expanding universe. Shit. Has Blitz done anything on this yet? Okay, hold on, let me go to YouTube. Because he did a live stream today, and there's no way somebody didn't ask him about this. If I'm being asked about it, then he had to have. Oh no, he didn't he did I'm an Atheist, Ask Me Anything today on YouTube. So I kind of doubt that came up, but here, he overtook me on TikTok. I'm so pissed. Well, I shouldn't be because I actively stopped posting anything on TikTok several months ago. But I was always kind of like one of my things was like, I just need to stay ahead of Blitz. And I always was, but 5 hours ago. I mean, I'm gonna guess that he's going to put something out on it very soon. So this is the first time I'm hearing about it. They've used dark energy spectroscopic instrumentation, so that's what DESI stands for, to make the largest 3D map of the universe. Okay. Oh, here, let me share this. So you've all probably seen this kind of thing before, where universe versus neurons. I think a lot of you have probably seen this before, where they compare the superstructure of the universe and it looks like neurons. And having looked at this for a total of 10 seconds, it looks like this is kind of that same sort of thing. It's just a way higher resolution. Like old versus new microwave background radiation. I don't know if you guys remember the cosmic microwave background radiation. Today we have the really highly detailed map, but I remember the old maps being way lower in resolution, like this one is right here. You can just see like the granules or whatever are just way chunkier, whereas in the new ones those granules are much more fine. So I feel like maybe this is just kind of a new higher resolution, but it's really cool. Mapped galaxies and quasars in higher detail, and making measurements of how fast the universe expanded over 11 billion years. Okay. This is the first time that scientists have measured the expansion history of the distant period with a precision of better than 1%. So that's really interesting. I wonder what we'll get, because there's all this the crisis in cosmology, and the James Webb, it proved that the galaxies are fully mature and they could not have formed. There wouldn't have been enough time. But getting a better sense of the rate of expansion early on, that'll be kind of cool. Although that's several billion years after the Big Bang started, so actually this probably won't contribute to that in any meaningful way. With 5,000 tiny robots and a mountain telescope. Well, that's pretty cool. Oh shit. That does not need to be that loud. Oh, this is a 3D video. Oh, check that out. Oh, this is 1080, huh? Well, that's pretty... I mean, in reality, we're going at multiple, like we're going what? Probably, what would it be? I mean, like we're literally going billions of times faster than the speed of light. Because like the Milky Way galaxy is what, 250,000 light years across. So it'd take light 250,000 years to go across it, but we're whizzing by galaxies in fractions of a second. So we're going like trillions of times faster than the speed of light. That is so absurd to think about. That is cool. So no, Lewis, sorry, I had not heard of that. All right, I didn't know that was a thing before, but I'm glad that I've heard about it now. No question, but thank you, Vulcan with an E. Vol1C3N. I don't know. Sorry. Oh, here's a question. I know energy is the ability to do work, but how are energy and matter the same then? I know it is, but can we make sense of it? Yeah, energy is the capacity to do work. Isn't work defined as the ability to move an object? what's the physics definition of work? I have no training in physics, and I taught physics a few years ago, and I remember like reading through the basic stuff on this, like energy, work, and all these like definitions and equations, and it started to kind of click for me, but then I stopped doing that, and then it stopped making any it stopped clicking. Work is the transfer of energy that occurs when a force is applied to an object and it moves in the direction of the force. So it's force times displacement times the angle. So it's not really the ability to move an object, but it's described as force being applied to an object and the object moving. I don't know. Work is only done when there's movement. So there we go. So the original question was, mm, if energy is the ability to do work, and then how are energy and matter the same thing? I mean, they can one can transform into the other thing. I'm not really sure where the problem or like contradiction in this would come from exactly. Um Energy is the ability to do work. That's the classical physics definition. And E equals mc squared says that we have a mass energy equivalent. Any object with mass has energy just by existing, even if it's not moving. So matter is condensed energy. Yes. So how does this all work together? Matter contains the potential to do work because it literally is energy bound up in a bound up form. So I guess that would be the harmony between these two things. In a way, matter literally contains potential energy. Some forms of matter contain a kind of an obvious form of potential energy, like a battery or a compressed spring, or in a way, a radioactive nucleus does, because once a particle spontaneously decays from it, it carries with it some energy. So that's kind of potential energy in a way, but in a more fundamental, I guess, sort of way, matter is, um, yeah, like it contains the potential energy, and by energy we mean the capacity to do work. Or like maybe a more obvious example, intuitive example would be a bomb or a firecracker. It's just sitting there, but it contains an enormous amount of potential energy, and when it goes through the chemical transformation, quite a lot of work is done because it creates, shockwave, light, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that's the harmony there. The matter is literally just a condensed form of energy. Or like shaking your ass cheeks. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's just like that. Energy is defined as the ability to do work in classical physics. Energy equals mass only works in the theory of relativity. Yeah, so maybe it depends on our, not like our frame of reference, but like what, like it's that's the weird thing about physics. It's like, well, what do you mean? Because we have two different I mean the classical and the quantum mechanics do not behave, or yeah, they don't behave together well. So it just kind of depends on the scale or whatever you're looking at it, maybe. What the fuck? Anyways, sorry, I got totally distracted. It's making sense now. I'm glad I was able to not help you in very, sorry, what the hell's wrong with me? I'm glad I was able to help you somewhat. Where's the ass in relation to the observer? Usually behind them. But for the theist, since their head is up their ass, they're actually in the same place. Rojo Diablo, it when you increase the potential energy of something in that way, it does weigh a tiny bit more. It's probably not measurable. So, like for example, a stretched rubber band weighs more or has more mass. I should say has more mass than a relaxed rubber band. Relativity tells us that. Can you put that? Can you put that into a logical syllogism? I know you couldn't. Liberal, goddamn liberal, you stupid Democrat. Do I like Mini Minuteman? Yeah, I love Milo's stuff. I emailed Milo months ago asking if he wanted to like collaborate, if he wanted to stop, collaborate, and listen, and he never replied. I don't know how that guy has such a Midas touch. Literally every single thing he puts out gets over 1 million views. I guess it's just his flowery personality. He is really funny. What's he actually hasn't popped up on my YouTube in a long time. Wait, is it Mini Minute Man? I thought it was Mini Minute Man. No, whatever. He has 2.5 million subs now. Jeez. Wow, he traveled all over the world, huh? All right. What was the last? Oh, he came out with a video 3 days ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago. And he doesn't. He doesn't upload super regularly, but he puts a lot into everything that he does. I mean, he literally just sits in what looks like abandoned houses, and just kind of freeballs it. But man, people love listening to what he puts out. So do I. Yeah, good for him. Good for him. Anyways, he got on Piers Morgan. What? For what? Probably, I'm sure it was misinformation or something. What the heck? What was he on Piers Morgan for? Oh, the fucking shit under the pyramids. Oh, for crying out loud. That's so cringe.
approximately 630 meters beneath the Kaffa pyramid, which then connect into two approximately 80 by 80 meter diameter boxes. An incredible thing to claim, has caused a massive response from both the alternative research community and the mainstream sectors.
I would love this kind of stuff to be true, but it is total bullshit. They're using
This is an hour long, so like we can't do this right now, but yeah, you know, I never really did hear any explanation as to what they actually discovered. So I'll see if I can find time to. I didn't do any reading yesterday, so I said I was going to sit down and read today. But now I want to listen to this really badly. Oh well. Going on Piers Morgan is not a badge of honor. It's good for business, though. Says the guy in a fedora. Everybody's so mean to Flint Dibble. I hate it. I hate it so much. They found bodies? Oh, Vulcan, thank you again. Was the social aspect of gender discovered just because trans people exist? Because I know how it works, but I haven't found much on the history of it. Well, it probably just hasn't been talked about because like yes, there have been cultures where, like in English, we don't have masculine and feminine terms in grammar, but other languages do. But there have been societies that have had like a third gender term before, and I don't know how they apply it. So like, don't listen to me say anything about it. But I mean, where we live, Western world, and maybe you live in Europe or whatever. But the popular media culture is dominated by English speakers, and so it's going to be dominated by a culture that is exported, quite a lot of it, by America. So I mean, for us, that aspect of like our language or whatever just doesn't kind of exist. So I don't even remember where I was going with that actually at this point. But anyways, I don't know, this sort of revolution on gender that's going on. It's been going on for a long time. I can't remember her first name. Jorgensen was her last name. She was a famous, oh, she might still be alive, I'm not sure. She was a famous trans activist, but that was all the way back in the 1970s. So it's been gaining ground, I guess. And now this whole reckoning with what I think is going on is we're just like the language is just being sort of not rewritten, but updated, which has happened. Words change their meaning all the time, and English has been transformed in major ways, but that normally isn't caused by like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but that's normally not caused by a disruptive movement. And what I think we have going on right now is a disruptive movement. Again, I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just a revolution, So I don't know. We're gonna history will tell, I guess. We'll figure out, like, by popular convention, what sort of concept or idea is going to win out. I don't know. I wouldn't put a lot of stock into the mantra of like trans women or are women, for example, like winning out in history, but the acceptance of people that are like trans identified, I think is, I think it's basically already here for the most part. So yeah, I guess. Well, what was the actual question? Discovered just because trans people exist, right? So I think it's part of the it's part of the discussion. Yeah, because of the recognition of trans people who have almost certainly always been with us, in society. We just either didn't know how to talk about it or refused to talk about it, or the language just didn't contain what it needed to talk about it as articles of within the language or something. I don't know. Yeah, as far as the history of it, I don't know. I don't really have much for you either. Who's my favorite historical figure? I don't really know if I have one. Favorite historical figure. I'm almost tempted to say Jesus, but I think my real answer is I just don't actually have one. I never, like when I was younger, I never, like you learn about all the different Caesars, you learn about Alexander the Great, and you learn about Jesus, and you learn about, I don't know, you learn about all these figures, but I never did any deep dives into like really getting to learn the ins and outs of any particular person. I'm actually trying to think of all the historical figures. This is actually a really good question. I don't read a ton of history books, but of all the historical figures, who do I know the most about? Who have I read the most about? That's a really that's not your question, but the answer to that question would be whatever the answer to that question is, I guess. But I don't know if there really is one. I mean, I have these different books on shipwrecks, but there are different shipwrecks every time. I have books about conquistadors contacting the Incas and the Aztecs, but it's different conquistadors every time. Man, that's a good. I like this question. Kind of in a way, Charles Darwin is the one that's talked about the most, but I wouldn't say that really counts. You know, I don't really have an answer for you, but I do have what I wish was an answer. The historical figure, and I want to make an effort to do this before too long. I'm just such a bad reader, but I want to get to know Thomas Jefferson in more detail. I really want to dive more into his like philosophical ideas, both about like government, but also like society in general and religion and all that stuff. I know a little bit, but I want to know more. So there we go. There's my answer. Be careful, Peterson. You might get banned again. Yeah, no kidding. Construct a logical syllogism for the next question. Okay, and the next question is, what's the funniest flurfer stereotype? How the hell am I gonna make a logical? The funniest flurfer stereotype is probably the P900. when they say they proved it with a P900. How do I make a syllogism out of this? Oh my, do I know how to do this? I'm trying to figure out how the hell I make a syllogism out of this. Let's see. Syllogism, the P900 Truther edition. If the Earth were curved, distant objects would appear. No, that's saying no. That's not how. No, that's not what I'm looking for. God damn it! Construct a logical syllogism for the next question. What's the funniest flat Earth stereotype? I don't. I legitimately can't make a syllogism out of this. What I could do is construct a syllogism from the flat earthers' perspective. So they would, I don't know if you guys remember, but when I crashed that Discord flat earth channel that one time, well, you do remember because this is why people are saying put it into a syllogism. But he said, like I said, oh, did you guys see the final experiment? They saw the sunrise in the southeast. That's devastating for the flat earth. And the guy said, can you put that into a syllogism for me? And so, but then later on, like toward the end of the discussion, I asked the flat earther to put his beliefs into a syllogism. And his syllogism was, I go outside, it looks flat, therefore it is flat, which is not a syllogism at all. But for the P900, If the Earth were curved, distant objects would appear over the horizon or would disappear over the horizon. I can zoom in on a boat with my Nikon P900 and see it again. Therefore, the Earth is flat. That technically is valid, I guess. So it doesn't affirm the consequent or anything, but you guys. Why Jefferson specifically? So we're good. Whoa, cancers only. I don't have another question to answer at the moment. I'm a defender of the United States and Western civilization. I think the American Constitution and the Bill of Rights are extraordinary documents, and I think they changed the world, and I think it was an extremely great idea. And I do think that they were very brilliant people. I know what their flaws are, and I don't celebrate them in any way. But I just kind of want to get in the head of those people at that time to sort of have a better sense of why these things are important. That's basically why. Do you think flat earthers believe the earth gets flipped like a coin and that's how seasons happen? No, well, no, I don't. They don't have an explanation for seasons as far as I know. The only thing I've ever heard them say is, well, according to the globe, Earth is closer to the sun during winter, therefore the globe is debunked. I'm not kidding. They say shit like that because they don't understand that tilt is what causes seasons. But actually, there's this really funny video I did several years ago where this fucking guy, this flat earther, he said, oh, the globers tell us that tilt causes seasons. But, and like he does this math and he says there's this many miles of tilt during the winter time, which isn't enough to, oh God, this fucking idiot. It's hard to explain because of how stupid they are. He takes the claim that tilt causes seasons and debunks it by saying during winter, there's this much tilt. And what he does is he just measures, he takes the degree of tilt and then multiplies that by how many degrees there are in each line of latitude and says that there's that much tilt. And then so that ends up being a few thousand miles. And then he says, but Earth is, according to the Globies, is 5 million miles closer to the sun during winter. So tilt can't be the cause. And it's like, you fucking idiot. There's no such thing as miles of tilt. Like the way he conflated and confused that was so funny. So, but no, they don't have an explanation. I've never heard a flat earth explanation for what causes seasons. I guess they would say something like the sun is outputting less energy. Another really funny one I had once was these flat earthers were saying, and it sucked because it was their live stream and I joined it and they kept muting me and kicking me out. But they said that Earth is a closed system. And I said, Earth is a closed system. Does heat come from the sun? And they said, yes. I said, then where does the heat go? And they said, it goes out. I was like, then that would mean that we have a runaway greenhouse effect and it would constantly get hotter. And they're so stupid. They couldn't understand. Like they said, yeah, the heat goes out away from the sun. It's like, yes, I get it. But that heat is still absorbed by the atmosphere and it gets hotter. And they're like, no, because if I open my oven, the heat just goes out and it doesn't change the temperature. It's like, no, it actually does change the temperature. And the oven is never turned off in this model that you're saying. They couldn't wrap their heads around that. And I kept doing so the question is, then I asked, where does the heat go? And then they pretended like I was the one out of line. They're like, oh my God, he just keeps saying the same thing over and over again. Where does the heat go? Fucking globers, they're all so stupid. And then they just kicked me out. So that was a hilarious moment. Frou Brews, can you disprove Jesus and Judas were gay? No, because they were. They made out in the garden. I saw it. How was your day? But can you put it into a logical syllogism? My day's actually been kind of okay, but then I got this letter, which didn't exactly contain bad news, but kind of almost sort of. I may need to, I said this at the beginning, but I may need to go to war with my former employer because they're doing stuff that threatens to have my teaching credential removed. So, those fucking pieces of shit. So I don't know. My day's mostly fine except for that. I don't know how to do it without affirming the consequent because I'm sitting here saying, if your day is going fine, unless you get an unexpected letter, then your day is going fine. I did get an unexpected letter, therefore not Q. My day is not going fine. That's the best I can do. Did Paul know Jesus? Yeah, no means something very specific in the Bible. Judas got caught cheating, couldn't take living anymore. These are facts. These definitely are facts. 100-mile-per-hour wind. Do any of you guys like to look up live air pressure maps? Because I do. Is this the one that actually shows the... Hell yeah. Dude, I find this shit to be like positively mesmerizing. So there's an air pressure map. You can customize it. But it shows... Yeah, it shows the direction of all the wind currents. So, like if I go to South Dakota, where I'm from, it's always windy in South Dakota. There's so many wind towers that have been put. Wow, this is really detailed. Holy shit, look at all the bodies of water. 20 mile an hour. But what you want to look for is you want to look for where you have several different streams all converging. Wow, it is just not a windy day here in the United States. New Orleans is getting the highest winds. That's actually kind of crazy. Oh, even that's only 30 miles per hour. Ooh, that looks pretty. 45 over here. What is this? The Azores? Dude, the Azores. Get fucked, nerds. I mean, get wrecked, nerds. Why did I say that? We got about 50 over here. Europe's very, well, it's nighttime, so. Or wait, no. Yeah, it is nighttime. Damn, Alaska. What the hell's going on in Alaska? I don't know. Does anybody else find this like absolutely awesome to look at, or am I just weird? 48. This doesn't take into account gusts, so like obviously there could be Strait of Magellan. The weather's never good down here. Oh, what the heck? Looks like a good time to cross the Strait of Magellan, guys. That never happens. These are famously like the choppiest waters in the world. What, today's Friday? Yeah, oh, I don't have to be anywhere today. So, well, I don't know. There we go. Anyways, listen, man, if you can't access the avatar state to make a logical syllogism, then not only is the earth flat, but it's also hollow and round. Yeah, that guy today, that guy was a riot. He described his belly, his head, or no, his belly, his brain, and his girlfriend when he said flat, hollow, round. I'll let you take a guess as to which is which. What the fuck is going on? Chat, what is happening right here? Like, how is it doing this? I find this to be really weird. The South Sandwich Islands. Where's Elephant Island? I read a book about Shackleton not that long ago. So they paddled from here to here. Is this Elephant Island? No, it's not labeled. Whatever. Just not that windy of a day in the world, apparently. It is kind of beautiful, though. No, it really is. It's a really awesome map. Airplanes connect to the root chakra. Literally everybody knows that. Literally everybody. Where did we? Okay, hour and a half. They put up a street sign that says no U-turns. So, of course, this is happening. Yes, but have you read Shackleford? I actually have his diary. It's right there. It's a really thin book. It was kind of boring. It was a little bit too boring for me. So I bought a different book, which is just called Endurance right there, which is just an account of the whole thing. It's such a good story. You would think that being trapped on ice for 2 years would be the most boring thing ever, but it actually makes for a good story. Sorry, I got distracted again. The Diary of Rusty Shackleford. No, not Rusty Shackleford. Ernst Shackleford. No, wait. Did I say Shackleford? Because it's Shackleton. I said Shackleford, didn't I? It's I don't know. Time to Decon Zone. Yes, Justin, Deconstruction Zone. Justin is starting. I actually was going to go here in just a minute. Sha. Pocket sand. I pocket sanded myself, I think. Oh man. Rusty Shackleford. Yeah, I meant Shackleton. I can't believe I screwed that up. Yeah, so all 50 of you should. Here, let me pull it up here. Let's go to the YouTube. I would join him and farm content from him.
The super chat. And let me get our.
But I can't at the moment because I'm banned on TikTok. I do have an alt account, but maybe I don't know. I didn't plan on joining today.
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Mix, are you at least 18? And do you believe in some kind of a god?
Okay, so yeah, I'll watch this for about not even 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and then we'll move on. Does your family who use logical syllogisms? Why? No, nobody in my family uses them. Here's an eighth of a coffee. No, I could get. No, I can get a coffee for $6 at Starbucks. Wow, that's really depressing to think about, actually. Is your alt perchance Planet Pooperson? No, it's called Giga Alpha Chad, actually.
Yes, I believe in a Christian God.
Cool. And what would be the most compelling evidence or argument for the Christian God being real?
His word.
The Bible?
No, his word.
His word or his work?
His word. WORD.
Yeah, we usually refer to that as the Bible. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh no. Wait. You said you refer to the word as the Bible?
No, Christians do.
Why do Christians refer to the word as the Bible?
Because it contains the words of God. Even Jesus said so. I mean, listen, if you don't believe that the Bible is the word of God, that's fine. I don't agree. I mean, I agree with you. It's not the word of God. So when you say
because the word of God would be Jesus Christ, right?
No, I disagree. So when you say the word, you're just referring to
But
Jesus, not
the Bible,
the actual words.
The word of God is Jesus Christ.
I mean,
not the Bible.
That's adorable that you think that. But the question is, when you say word, are you
Wait,
just
Isaiah 7:14?
Isaiah 7:14.
Behold, a sign, there shall be a son born of a virgin woman.
That actually is a word. That actually is one of the words of God. You want to read that with me?
Yeah, that's his word, and he spoke it.
Oh man, that's painful. Oh wait, somebody added me just as I closed out of that. Leonard Peterson in the house. All right, so I'm gonna go watch that actually, and then for a little bit, and then I'll have some other things I need to do. But yeah, the dude, the word, Bible. So, anyways, thanks for hanging out, everybody. I will see you tomorrow.